Welcome. This is Michael Danklos of Elevate Your Best, and this is the Elevate Your Best podcast.
And I'm Bruno Martins from the Cyber Journey. Glad to be here with you, Michael, and with the audience as well.
Thank you, Bruno, for coming back. We're going to be doing some review of the coaching session we did a couple weeks ago and really check in with Bruno on some of the takeaways that he's had, as well as we're going to shift into talking today a little bit about kind of the frustrations that have come up since then. We're also going to go back and look at one of the exercises that we went through that we took a left turn on, and we'll be discussing that as things unfold.
Great. And if we have chance, we're going to go a little deeper, explain some things to you, the techniques that we are using or that we can use. We always try to do some sort of metagaming, let's call it like that, have a conversation from behind the scenes, because those pieces of content can be very useful, very instructive, and they can open the perspective of you, the audience that is following on our conversation. So let's start.
Normally I would have that person do it as a narrative and do it as if it was a conversation with me 3 years from now, and really as you relayed to me what your life looks like now. And that's generally the process that we start with, and that is then the vision that we're looking to take the first step to create. We really didn't do that, and as I'm looking through my notes that we took on this, I didn't get that from you. In fact, you went off on this tangent and never came really back to that full idealized vision of what it would look like.
I had the impression of that we were doing some screening and that we went far into the screening process and we didn't actually got to start working into the financial side of things, the financial category. That was what we were supposed to focus, despite the fact that we did talk a lot and focus a lot on financial things and everything. By the way, I believe that's because I am an atypical coaching client. I'm not the typical coaching client that you would have, because I already have a pretty sound and clear vision for my future. And I already understand a lot of things of visualization. I have a lot of plans ready. So it's comprehensible for me to have a lot of things to say and a lot of pieces to put into the scenario for you, that is the coach, which is usually not the case with the person that comes into the coaching session. They have a lot more questions. They wish to understand a lot of more things, and it might be a different type of work setup for you. I don't know if you see it that way. Do you see it that way?
I don't, actually. I know that you've got an idea of what your vision is. You have an idea, but you don't have it wrapped up as a nice, neat little package. We actually wandered all over the place and never actually defined as a bubble of what your life would be like in 3 years from now. In fact, just looking at my notes, it is nothing like the session I just did yesterday, where I actually had him lay out exactly what his life looks like. How does he feel? What is he doing? Who's in his life? What is he creating? What's the impact he's having? All of those kind of things as a narrative. And it took a little bit to get to what that was. We were talking about a $1 billion company, a $10 billion company, changed and morphed over time. So I know that you have big ideas, you have that wonder aspect, but not the galvanizing aspect where here's my product, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm doing. We didn't get there. And that may be as much because I poked and prodded and tore at the edges, or it isn't in a way that you could express it to me in that state where you can concretely say, this is exactly what I want to create.
I have a sound plan that would take step one, step two, things like that. But if I get to organize all this, I believe that the people that are interested enough into reading it might understand that, hey, this guy has actually like a step-by-step plan, solid, that not everything is put together. There are gaps that needs to be filled, yes, but those gaps will be filled when we are on the way. There are things that I don't know how to solve, like programming stuff and how to do like blockchain technology. I don't know how to, but I will learn, or I will hire somebody that knows.
But the part that you're missing at this point, and it may be communication, it may be the words, maybe it's where you think I'm taking you rather than following where I'm taking you, is your vision isn't about the how, it's about the what.
Isn't that about the why?
It's a little bit about the why, and we dig into that afterwards, but how do you want to feel? What do you want to be doing? What does your life look like? Not how did you get there? Because that's the process that we go through in coaching, is determining what the how is. And the how can kill the why if you start with the how before the why or the what. Vision work really is about setting the marker out there, throwing the ball as hard as you can, and seeing where it lands is okay. And then you figure out how to go there. That's what the coaching process is. And the next step, accountability, commitment, all those other people. Are you prepared for it? Celebrating your progress towards it. All those cornerstones, none of that really gets you anywhere until what you want to create in your life. What do you want to feel? What are you doing? How far are you going? You're trying to figure out that you have the right car. You don't know which city, state, or route you're going to go yet. So that's the part I think where the disconnect is.
I actually have a very clear vision in my mind of how I wish to feel, how I will feel, how things will be. Like, it really affects my life today. For example, I was going to jiu-jitsu one of these days and I was in my bike driving, and then I got to an affirmation that I registered in my journal, which was, I feel like I'm living the dream today. I recognize flavors of my vision in today's moment, like in every moment, something like that. Because I was in this street, was a beautiful street we have nearby here with lots of trees. I love trees. It's a wide street, and I was seeing the sun on the trees, and it was everything beautiful, like leaves. And I was like, oh, I want more of this. It's not the street I wish to be yet. I wish there were better architecture, more places for people to walk on, more trees, like a more beautiful place. But I was like recognizing the flavors of the things I wish to. I visualize a lot of food. I love food. Like I have a dream to go into those Michelin star restaurants, because I think there must be something different. There must be something special that I don't know yet. And I have even a fear about that, to go there to experience this for the first time and not have the taste to recognize how special those foods might be. Because I really think there might be something special. Like I watch a lot of programs, I watch a lot of things from Gordon Ramsay, and the emotion that they put out around food. And I never went to any place that had like, I just been into like very common low price places. And I really want to, if I become a millionaire, a billionaire, you can be sure that there will be a lot of money going to food. And food experiences, what food can bring. Like, I see myself, for example, here, not so far vision, 3 years from now, I see myself every day waking up, going to a bakery that we have here that has a very nice lunch that I today can't afford because it's like around $10. Sorry?
So it's amazing how, even as you're saying what your vision is, you are sabotaging yourself while you're saying it.
Yes. Is it sabotaging? Recognize that today I can't afford.
So when you do vision work, like I'm talking about 3 years from now, you don't actually say things, though I can't afford it right now.
Oh.
That's the how, not the what or the why. You want it because you can't have it right now, or do you want it because it's an experience you want to have in your life?
Yeah, it's an experience I wish to have in my life.
Gotcha. So that's where true vision work comes in. When you are visualizing being there, you're not thinking about, I can't, how do I get there? It won't ever be there because I'm afraid. That's where true vision work and working with a coach needs to start, because you need to see yourself stepping out of where you are into that new place.
And immersing in the vision.
It's a very different approach to it, which is one thing that we missed last time. And it's one thing that I would like to actually do with you at some point, is get you into that headspace where you are seeing yourself there. So part of where I took this from, I'm not sure if you know who Jack Canfield is. He's an author here in the United States. He wrote the books, The Chicken Soup for the Soul. And one of the events that he does is like the 5 year from now event. Everybody shows up for dinner dressed and acting as if it was 5 years in the future. So if you want to write a book, you actually bring a prop of a book with the title on it that you're going to write. If you are a millionaire, you're dressing like a millionaire in the best way you possibly can do that. And you act throughout the entire duration of the event as if that is who you are. It's the as if concept.
I do that today, Michael. That's why I find out so many problems. I know. I don't know. The idea is that many people in many places that I get into, like I told you this Wednesday on Jiu-Jitsu, they get offended by me because I got into a place. For example, I mentioned you when I was in the Life Vision, our coaching session, that girls sometimes, it's something that happened more than once time. They express, I have this presence, that I'm this important person that got into a place. And even one time a girl said, when you walked into the bar, it looked like you were the owner. So I have this posture, like I walk into places and I walk as if I were a millionaire or a billionaire, like as if I have this, it's not, some people might see this as arrogance, but I'm not arrogant. I'm a very accessible person. Anybody that gets to me has time, if they wish to work with me in a project, like I'm at the bar and sometimes people, because we are back to business. So every Friday I go into this bar that is very close, nearby to my home, just local people there. We talk, we get to know a lot of people. We live beside a university campus, so it's a lot of fun. And I get to know those people that are there, and they have someone is studying cinema, and I speak with them like networking. Oh, I can help you. I have some this and that that I can put in contact with you. And some of those people, they don't believe because I believe that some people get even suspicious because they unfollow me, and I follow them, they follow me, then they unfollow me later. And I was like, what happened? Some suspicion, like they might have think that I had some scamming them for something. It might be that, I don't know. But I have this posture. What I was just going to say before is that I imagine going there into this bakery, having my lunch, and having dinner in another place that is very nice nearby, but it's also something that I will be able to afford in the future. But again, sorry. But the thing is that I see myself bringing people to eat with me, like calling friends and talking business, making partnerships, making network. And if people that I'm inviting, because I wish to work with the local people that don't have many resources, if they don't have the money to pay for their meal, I see myself paying for the bill. If they have money, I will not need to pay for the bill because there will be another dynamic going on. But I visualize a lot of things happening, for example, around food and around providing good food for the people that are like my friends and the people that are connected with me. I see myself free, a lot free as well, traveling the world, going to Sao Paulo to make some business there, and then going to Europe, get to know some game developing company to make our blockchain game, things like that. I can see those things happening. And today I can see them, the path that I'm taking to them very clearly. For me, today is just a matter of time. How am I going to find the initial resources that are going to feed this? And the moment I see that the moment that I start to get more resources than what I need to survive, this will start to have a exponential effect, because the money that I see myself making, as I told you last session, it's going back into new projects, and a project brings another. Those projects, the way I think they breed others, like they have branches that go into bringing another project, using the structure of the first to make the other viable.
So you gave me a whole lot of information there, which is awesome. And you still waffle back and forth between it being your reality versus out of your reach.
Yes, I noticed that. I noticed that right now.
So one thing that I want to observe is you're walking into places where you are not well received.
Yes.
Either it is that
Sometimes.
you need to change who you are or find new places where you are well received. Both are options. Or you stop caring what people think. It's always the toughest thing whenever we make up what we think somebody else's mind is on something. When we talked about the 4 agreements, that was one of the key things of making assumptions.
Don't make assumptions, yeah. And I do make a lot of assumptions. Yeah.
So is that how you want to live your life?
Making assumptions? No. I like my assumptions, Michael. They are pretty sound.
Well, and that is one of the biggest challenges around the idea of making assumptions is if I make it up, it'll be however I want it to be. Even if it doesn't serve me, I can make up that they're angry and pissed off at me, even though they may not be. And it's so much easier, but may not head you in the direction where you want to go, instead of having the conversation and having that tough conversation with someone of, when you said, this is how I felt when you did that, is that what you meant? Is not an easy conversation to have with people. Instead, it's easier to make it up in our head. But is it, in the long run, is it really easier? And that's what the whole thing around don't make assumptions is about. Is it may be more expedient, maybe faster, because then we don't have to take the time to have the conversation with them. It may be easier because then there's not a dialogue back and forth, because it's just us making up the story in our head. But when it really comes down to it, if you want that deep, authentic relationship with this group of people, if that's important to you, it will be required that where they come from, rather than telling them where they come from, because that's what you made up in your head.
And not only that is an interesting thing that I know, and I thought about it and I decided to like, because I was just wanting to feel frustrated. The thing is that first, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is that they are thinking doesn't matter. It doesn't have to affect me because they don't care what they say. They don't care what they do. Like they themselves don't care. Why should I care? And the other thing is that even if there was a negative meaning there, I could just take a look in and focus on the positive meaning. But I understand it's totally not a necessity. It's a total waste of energy.
So that's why I want to just make you aware of it. It's not about me being right. It's a matter of shining light over here that it may be this or maybe that. You get to decide what it is, and if it's something that you want to change so you can potentially have a different outcome. If you're frustrated with the outcome you have now, all the choices that you've made up to this point have led to the outcome you are in. So if the trajectory is like this, you're still going to hit that unless you change something to go somewhere else.
One last thing I would like to add to this, that you just remember me, is that it's not that I have a right way and I think that my way is the most optimal, is that I see how things are going and I look to optimize. And then I find an optimized version of what is happening. And I bring to the group, and I would like people to engage in everything. Many times people don't want to engage because they want to do the things the way they always do. And it's not the most optimized thing that I found is the best version of best way to do things, like top of the notch, things like that. It's just currently available to what we know, the most optimized version. So I'll be working to optimize that even further in making it more efficient, looking, searching, learning new tools, like hearing the team and things like that. I like to hear the team. I like to hear the players that play in the way I think that it's the best way. I don't like to hear the team players that don't know what they're talking about. Or, yeah, I need to improve on that. Because if sometimes even in work, I don't know, like I like to work with the people that I recruited, because sometimes we were like having a working session and then there was somebody there that was just making like questions that were totally productive, and I didn't have time to explain to that person that never studied how to do research how he was leading the interview. If we do this question, we are leading the interview, we are planting an answer that we wish to hear. I would rather not have that person there. I would not have that person there, or tell him like, please just watch and try to understand what we are doing. If you have any questions, please make your questions. You're welcome. But I don't like to have people doing unproductive things that actually takes us out of flow and takes us out of the thing that we are doing, that it's nice. And I might need to improve on that. I'm not like if I believe that if I knew how to do everything, I would be much more successful. Perhaps not, because I see myself as a very efficient person, given the circumstances. I see myself as a very efficient person. But let me tell you something. This is very useful for me. I love it. I would like to make it more useful for the audience. I don't know if when we edit, usually when we edit those conversations, they are much more useful than I imagine. But would you like to do the visualization thing?
I've got one more
No?
thing I need to point out before we go there.
Okay.
And it's a pattern that I'm seeing, and you can actually tell
Yes.
me if it's true or not.
Love patterns.
So when it came a while ago, we talked about what you were doing around Notion. You made a comment of, I don't want to be the teacher. I want to be the vision person who brings in teachers.
Yeah.
In this particular case as well, in the dojo, when you're in the gym for this, it sounds like you don't want to be the teacher. You want them to already have the skills. And similarly, it sounds like on a third time that in the business industry, you want somebody to already know how to collect research and do interviews rather than you being the teacher. This is three
Yeah.
hints, at least that I've seen around this, and there is a different way of approaching things that may serve you better, because the
Mhm.
opportunity for you to pass on, if you're going to qualify people for better opportunities, is not necessarily just handing them a wad of bills of reais. That's not qualifying them for better opportunities, because their mindset is now at this level where they're worth this much. And
Mhm.
empowering someone is part training, is part cheerleading, is part enabling. There's a whole bunch of other stuff
Mhm.
that's in there, but it feels to me like there's this step that you almost get frustrated by, that you actually, it's almost like that's somebody else's job. They should already know how to do this before they even get to me.
I think there is a little misconception there because of the scenario. For example, in this scenario that I just mentioned, this is a person that was hired by a company to do a job. So that person should know a few things. And this person was in the amidst a group of people that knew how to do those things. And he was acting like his contributions have a lot of values. I like there was a lot of ego, like why are my questions not being chosen to be in the research, like this moment that I remembering, and I would have to explain to this person that didn't understand your questions are leading the interviewer, like you are cementing an answer that you want to hear. We don't want to hear answers that are like ego satisfying to us as a company. We want to investigate and find out what is happening with the customer experience and all that. So that was a different scenario. In jiu-jitsu, I'm recording lessons, a few trainings. I love when people ask me things because I really have a nice didactics. I was even recognized several times for how didactic I am and how easily people get. Even students later found me in tournaments and I was like, talk to me. And I was like, hey, where do we know each other? And they were like, oh, I was in a training where you show the position. And it was like so good. And I'm like, great. But I do wish to create a place. I don't want to be a jiu-jitsu teacher. I might be there in the training. I am accessible as always. All my knowledge is accessible to everybody that gets in contact with me. But I wish to create a training gym here where I live, a big one with a structure for people to train jiu-jitsu, mixed martial arts, Muay Thai, judo, and do some other acrobatic things, like maybe even have some circles people have using this place to train, physical training. And I want to enable people that want to teach those and live of those arts to use this space. So again, I wish to be a host. And in the cyber, I also wish to be the business owner that creates the platform where people will teach and people will learn. I don't think that people need to get there ready. I have the understanding that we are gonna actually get a lot of people that are not even aware that they can learn those things that we are going to teach. But again, I might be teaching some things, but I will not be the teacher. I'm the business owner. I'm the guy that has a vision. I'm the guy that makes the vision possible and that builds the structure necessary for those people to work. And I already act as you, the audience might not know, but a great transformation in my life happened in a conversation with you when you helped me see that I didn't needed resources to qualify marginalized people for better opportunities, because I was already doing that. And seeing that as it is, potentialize what I do. Like today I understand that today I live my experience, my daily experiences, qualifying marginalized people for better opportunities in every chance that I get. Like I am accessible to one of the greatest challenges I see here is that people don't believe. I think that people are so beaten and they are so scammed and things like that that they don't believe. But for example, I have a friend that is a great artist. I might put an image of his work here, like great artist. He does some spiritual works, mandala, astrology, tarot, art. And I was like, I have a meeting with him that went more than 1 hour, explaining to him what are NFTs, answering his questions, helping him. I connected him with an investor that invests into NFTs, and we are waiting an answer for this investor. So I'm doing those things. I have a friend that has a small business, and I pass on the vision for him to build delivery packages that every month people will sign up, and he'll have a monthly subscription, a monthly income stream that will strengthen his business. I have some friends that are vegan cookers, like they are vegan chefs, and I put together a plan to help those people to do a restaurant. Those guys, they vanish. They didn't show up anymore. Like I put a very nice plan together for these people to open the restaurant, and I talk to them and they don't answer anymore. Like many people don't believe, but you help me. You really, with that conversation, you transform my life into understanding that I have total capacity and I already act upon my mission, which is to qualify marginalized people for better opportunities.
So do you realize how defensive you just got?
No.
So you reiterated what I just said is I may teach some, but other people are going to do that. I'm the visionary. I'm this person. I'm doing that. And one of the reasons why this comes up for me specifically is one of the things that irritates me is coaches who only coach coaches. It seems like it's actually its own little ecosystem and it's not actually helping change the world, which is where I want to go. Is I want to help people live more of an intentional life so that they can actually elevate themselves each time between games to show up better the next time that they show up. That really is my drive. But I keep having coaches come to me that want support. So each time that I resist that, what you resist persists. There's people who could be taught by you and they keep coming to you in a place where they're teachable. But I keep hearing in several different areas of, I'm accessible, but I'm not your teacher. I'll just hold the space for you to learn, is a very different perspective than I've got wisdom to share with you and I'm open to bringing you from where you are to where you want to go.
But I am, Michael, and I actually do that.
But I'm hearing frustration from you, but each time you come up against one of those situations, like I hear in my head, and maybe it's just my own internal dialogue or what I'm making assumptions of, that's not my job.
No, I don't feel that. I don't feel that. Like what you might be hearing is that I wish I could scale this. I can't teach anything. It's not like that's not my job. There are things I can't teach. I teach everything I can. I'm accessible to teach everything I can, but there are things I don't know myself, so I can't teach. I wish I could scale this so there were more things that people could learn, that people could learn with me. Do you get it? You might be feeling frustration. I don't feel it. There might be some frustration there, but it's not about teaching. It's about scaling my business. It's about getting my projects off the ground. Right now, I'm experiencing a lot of frustration that I don't even open the door for it to flow because that would be fruitless. But why am I experiencing frustration right now? Before NFTs existed, I had a plan to create a pay-to-win game. It's a game where you play and you make money. And I have tons of content into this project, like ideas, strategies, how to do that. I figured out how to create this economy there, but I don't have funding. And I'm even trying to connect with some people in the industry that are producing other games to see if I can perhaps open a door there. But then right now, what happens is that people are turning NFTs and building games around NFTs that are making a lot of the things that I envision possible. So I had this vision. I wanted to search for this technology. I found ways to make it, but now we have better technology than what I thought, that makes the things that I wanted to create much easier, much more possible, much more tangible for other people. And not only that, my vision even goes further. I am seeing something that I don't even know how to speak with the people that I will connect, because it's something simple that clearly they are not incorporating into their games, but they eventually will figure it out. They eventually will incorporate, and this will take the person that incorporates that into a new level. And I wish I was in the middle of those guys, because I'm already seeing that. I could be like already opening the door for the next level. And I'm not there. I don't have resources. I barely pay my bills. So that is a lot of, that is frustration, because I know that somebody will get there. I know that somebody will figure it out. And I know that I'm going to see the thing that I'm envisioning into reality brought by other people. This happened before. It's not the first time that I imagine something and later I see something like that. And I wish I was there to participate in the solution, to help those things. Yeah, but it's mainly the frustration that I experience is mainly for not having more resources to scale things. I don't have frustration into sharing knowledge, teaching, and participating into that. But I know my position. I know that I'm not going to be like just a teacher. It's not what I'm creating. I'm not trying to sell online courses, my online courses. I'm trying to build a platform, a structure that will make possible for teachers to teach, to spread their knowledge, that will make possible for people that are marginalized to learn, and that will create opportunities for those people that are involved to make more money and things like that. Did I got defensive again?
A little bit, but not as bad. There's some value in there of I get where you want to go. And
Yes.
knowing your place, you also said, even though you don't like being put into your place, because that means that you are in that marginalized community that you're trying to qualify people out of, which
Yes.
I hear. And I can somewhat relate to that idea of being pushed aside, of being part of this community that's not allowed here, where you cannot do these things because you are this type of person. So that at that level, I can relate to you.
Mhm.
And my question is, and it's really part of my practice, is learning that whatever other people define you as is not who you are. No matter what other labels or judgments that other people have about you is not who you are. It's actually what you discover and work on and expand on and elevate and practice that really defines who you are. Your character, you can see it reflected back to you from other people because of how you've shown up. But when we really talk about it, integrity is not necessarily something that can be measured on the outside. Even in a physical way, when they're talking about structural integrity, you can't just eyeball a bridge and say, yep, that bridge is structurally sound. It is fully, there's integrity there. Now you got to look inside of it. You actually need to actually see what's on the inside of that. And that's for you is all up in here. But I get that there's some frustration for you because like I said, this is triggering that in me. So there seems to be a bit of a trigger there for you when someone does pigeonhole you, put you aside into an area where you don't feel you
I
belong.
hate that. I hate that. I hate that. That's exactly what happened Wednesday on Jiu-Jitsu. Like people trying to put me into a place, fit me into a box that I don't feel like I belong. Like it's just that if when people try to put me into a place, because I've been diminished my whole life. I've been abused emotionally, psychologically, physically, and this is complicated for me. And when somebody tries to do anything that resembles with abuse, anything that resembles with putting me below what I believe I am, like not because I deserve or something, like just I'm here. Like I'm purple belt in Jiu-Jitsu, I know Jiu-Jitsu, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a philosopher, I'm a person that likes to communicate, all that. I would like to help. If anybody gets to me and trying to fit me into a place that I feel diminished, for me, that's very offensive. You'll be my enemy. Just, yeah. I see some people like as my enemies, like, you are my enemy.
Which I get, I'm there with you. And it's one of the things probably why we resonate so well with each other, because I don't like being pigeonholed either. I'm 6'5", 199 centimeters. So I'm tall and I'm big. So people tend to pigeonhole me in that person who can carry big things and reach to the top of the shelf. That's what I'm good for. But I've been growing this my entire life to learn how to deduce and problem solve and ask questions and be curious and all those kind of things. That's what I want to be known for, not whether I can actually pick up a boulder and move it. It's fun to do that for certain, but to be able to have that physical prowess to be able to do it. But in doing so, I've then narrowed down the scope of what's possible for me to do. But each of those things, there's the outside limitations, and then there's the internal limitations. You get to define the inside ones. You can work on those, and you can piece them apart in therapy or EFT or havening or several different routes to actually reprogram those beliefs, those limitations. Because
What did you say, Michael? Can you repeat?
There's lots of different ways for us to define, or maybe defined isn't the right word, to discover what those limiting beliefs are, and then unravel them, figure out where they came from, and snip it off at the bottom and let that belief go. Because most of the time, it's not coming from us. It's coming from out there.
But you mentioned some ways. Which were they?
So the different ways that beliefs can be worked on, there's several different ways. It could be therapy. Therapists can actually help with those if it's actually something that is related around to trauma, and abuse certainly is one of those big ones. You can also look at EFT is tapping is another way to help you reprogram the subconscious around certain beliefs. As you bring beliefs up, you can actually then reprogram your sympathetic nervous system to not react in the same way. Havening is similar to that. Jim actually talks about that. Jim Hendricks. It's actually Paul McKenna was one of the original founders of spreading the practice of havening. There's also EMDR. There's lots of different practices that hypnosis is another huge arena around helping people change beliefs. But in all of them, it's a matter of practicing yourself outside of that belief. And sometimes it is envisioning it, sometimes it is talking through that, sometimes it is working with a coach, working with a hypnotherapist, a psychotherapist, someone who's trained in each of those modalities. And sometimes it is choosing that belief doesn't serve me. Some people can get there. It's generally really difficult to do that on your own, though, for most. So
I like when you say practicing yourself outside of that belief, because it does not serve you. That is very good, because basically what this says is not identifying. Is it not identifying with that belief? So I greatly believe on that. If you feel something that frustrates you or anything like that, like we were discussing today, and I'm saying the things, and that's why a coach is so important, because those are not things that are unknown to me, as you have witnessed it today. Those are things that are known to me. I'm speaking about them, I'm talking, we are having this conversation about all those things that I experience, all those frustrations. But either way, stopping, bringing a new perspective, talking about solving this problem, brings us to the knowledge that, again, I also have not identified with that, and refreshes it into the memory for me to take the conscious decisions, stop the pattern, stop the programming, and take the conscious decisions to say, you know what, I really shouldn't identify with that. It doesn't serve me. And that's where a coach might be very valuable to you. I really like those moments that we have, Michael. And it's not only here, it's not only in the session that you can use this. Actually, most of the benefits is on the mindfulness of the session, taking notes, recording it, reviewing it, meditating about it, journaling about it. And then those changes that you wish to make in your life, they might actually be incorporated. If you do this process continuously, if you commit to it, if you reflect about the things that we talk on sessions, that can be life-changing. So thank you, Michael. That is very good. I like the tools that you mentioned. I'm gonna look to them. I didn't know tapping was good for resignifying things. I know of a process that I learned and that I was talking with a friend of mine that does psychology, and he actually told me that this is a very known process into psychology, which is resignifying. You go back into a memory, you meditate, you relax, like you get into that relaxed state of mind. And then you think about, how am I feeling today? And you allow that emotion to grow on you, to feel that, allow yourself to feel that, might be good, might be bad, but how are you feeling? And then you question yourself, when was the last time I remember that I felt like that? And you go back into this memory, and the idea is for you to go back further and further. You live that memory, you allow it to experience that again, and then you say to yourself, okay, and how was the last time I felt like that? And you try to regress. Sometimes we even regress. If you are doing this work continuously, you might regress to a state where you stop feeling your body. It's not so tangible anymore. That usually means because you are reliving some memory or some feeling that in your memory was recorded in a place before, like you were 7 years old, 3 years old, something like that. Because in this moment, we are not so connected with our physical body. We are much more connected with our emotional body. So we feel just the emotion, our sensation of the physical body kind of gets a little bit distant. And then you start to resignify those moments, and you stop and say, for example, let's say that you remember a coach, a professor, or your one parent, sibling, saying something very nasty, very abusive towards you. And then you relive that memory as you remember it. And then you ask yourself, every memory, actually, you do that and you regress. You ask yourself, okay, this happened this way, but how could this happen better? What would I want as the child to hear my siblings saying, or my parents saying, or this professor saying? How I believe today, if it were me today there, how would I as a child want to be embraced? And even if I did something wrong, what is the advice that I would like to have received as a child or a teenager or anything, in order to have this experience be better? And then you resignify this experience, because as Michael said, there's something very cool that our mind doesn't know what is real and what is imagination. That's why superpower, that's why imagination is such a superpower, because your subconscious mind has no idea, this is proven, has no idea what is real and what is imagination.
So the process you just laid out is what I observed while someone was going through EMDR. Right. So it is the idea of going back and building up resilience, and then bringing that resilience into past memories and using it as an opportunity to reframe those. So you need to be certified and licensed to do that particular process. So it's not something that you're just going to pick up and do on your own. Tapping, EFT, you can do that with a professional and get trained in how to do it and have someone guide you, but it's also something that you can do on your own. There are several people out there. Nick Ortner and his sister have really pushed the whole tapping. Tappingsolution.com, I believe, is their site. And there's also psychotherapists, positive psychology practitioners who also bring that. It combines both Eastern and Western methodologies to help you tap into your sympathetic nervous system and reprogram that, rewire that, so that you don't have a fight or flight response every time you have that smell or that light or that sound. Can work with, my understanding, with people who are suffering from PTSD, suffering through any kind of traumatic responses and triggers. I've actually done that several times to get through some of those spaces where there is regret, guilt, and shame around past experiences. And it's been really helpful for me. And it's just like when we talked about the tools of visualization, it's a matter of finding the right tool for you to reframe that if you
Mhm.
want to. And that's, I think, some of the toughest parts, and what we talked a little bit about before, and where we're coming to the end is knowing about it is generally the first step, is knowing that this belief is coming up for me, which is where a coach or a therapist can, sometimes your friends as well, can actually say, wow, I've seen this in you as you talk about this. And then deciding, am I willing to do the work to move that over here? And then once you've decided that you're committed to doing that, then finding the right tool to get there, finding the right person who can assist you with that process and guide you through that process. And once you're there, then it's a matter of doing the practice, the daily things, the weekly things you need in order for that to come up. Because resilience isn't something that just you snap your fingers and you have resilience. It's something that you are working on over time. You build up that resilience. Like, as an example, like you were talking a little bit earlier about the practice of the way that you actually had the gauntlet, is what it sounded like, where you have to go to the back of the line if you don't actually proceed to the next stage. That's the practice that gets you prepared for what is potentially going to happen during a competition. The same thing is true for most sports, but is also true for things like meditation. Your practice is what prepares you to be more resilient when you're coming up against that emotional barrier, that emotional trigger, to be more resilient in that case. The same thing would be true for me. As an example, I can go and swim in the ocean here in New England, which is really cold, because my practice is to take a cold shower, where I'm not actually taking a piping hot shower when I go in there, because I've trained my body to react differently to that. Each of these areas really show where the practice is important, which is what my coaching practice is about, is let's practice the resilience in between the times we need to show up for it. So when it's game time, when you are in a social situation where somebody's really frustrating you, how do you express that? When you're actually in the midst of actually troubleshooting a problem with your job, how do you show up for that? Did you practice coming at it calmly and logically? Or did you continuously practice showing up angry, frustrated, pissed off, and pissing everybody off around you? Which way do you want to actually go? It's one of my favorite sayings is, if you ask for patience, you ask the universe, you ask God, please give me patience. The result is never an opportunity where you don't get to practice patience. You get the
Yeah,
opportunity to practice it in the light of something that's going to actually test your patience. So we practice, which is really important.
cool. And I like what you spoke about meditation. I think that is an opportunity for a very nice short here, which is, what is meditation? What is meditation? And you spoke about meditation and you spoke about practice. And for me, meditation is exactly the exercise where you practice mindfulness. And people talk about, what do I do when I meditate? Some people say, focus on your breath, don't think anything. Other people say, no, you should allow your thoughts to surface and flow through you. But when we are beginning to meditation, that is actually a very abstract concept. How does that work? And the simple idea that I have to share with people that are in this moment in their lives, and that is might be very useful for you, is that meditation is exactly you exercising this mindfulness, which is consciousness, which is a focus, attention into something. So you might be meditating into some ants that are passing by. You might be meditating to your breath. Breath is the best for us to start, because it's something very internal, very personal. It's a cycle, so it's very good. And when you actually get familiar with it, it's very easy for you to tap into that relaxed frequency that meditation is about, for you to relax. Like most of us find it's good. I believe it's a basic trait of meditation for you to be relaxed. And when does this exercise happen? It's not when your mind goes away or something like that. When your mind goes away, doesn't mean that you fail to meditate. When your mind goes away and you realize that your mind went away and it just went off, and you say, oh, I'm thinking, I forgot to pay attention to my breathing. And you decide consciously to go back to your breathing and pay attention to it again. That's the moment when you exercise meditation, because you consciously decide to come back and focus on what was your intention. And later, you might have put the intention into feeling happy, familiarizing yourself with feeling happy, or feeling pleasure, or feeling grateful, or envisioning the future. And you might meditate into different things. Today, I meditate on jiu-jitsu, for example. When I'm on the mat fighting, I am meditating because I understood how this works, and it has a ripple effect that affects your entire life. If you just exercise, you don't even need to understand, but if you just exercise this mindfulness about your breathing, your focus, your attention, your capacity to just be mindful about anything else in life improves.
Absolutely. And what I like about the idea of meditation is mindfulness is one route to go there. Absolutely. I feel like I can meditate doing just about anything that I get into the flow state. So it can be chopping wood, it can be riding a bike, it can be anything that's rhythmic that you can follow. And for me, it was a challenge actually to get started meditating, because it was that doing it wrong and did I fail at this? And as you said, it's that being aware of, let's get back to the thing that I want to focus on, which serves us when we go out into the world at large, when there's so many different distractions to pull us into different directions, that when you've been practicing pulling yourself back from the distraction, that's the one of the skills we learn by meditating. One,
Mhm.
there's so many other
Yeah.
possible benefits to go there. Being mindful of your breath, knowing, are you breathing up here in your chest, or are you breathing down into your belly, has a
Mhm.
different physiological response in our body. 2/3 of the receptors for oxygen are in the lower part of our lungs. So when we're breathing shallowly in the top half of our lungs, we're triggering our body to go into fight, flight, or freeze mode, because that's what you do whenever you see the tiger or the bear, which triggers your body to release cortisol and adrenaline.
And that's how most of us breathe. Like I learned one of these days after a conversation with Jim how to breathe when he spoke about diaphragmatic breathing. And I hear those unknown things and I pick them up. They call my attention, so I immediately go searching. And then I search a lot of things. I watched a lot of singing lessons talking about diaphragmatic breathing. And that's what changed my jiu-jitsu. That took my jiu-jitsu to a new level, because now I have much more energy in jiu-jitsu because I learned how to breathe. I had forgotten and didn't knew. There was something very interesting that you mentioned, Michael. I love the way you spoke about it, which is anything that has a rhythm which you can follow. And this goes so deep that torture that people have, I believe the Chinese invented something like that, that they put you sitting or in a table and then there is a drop of water falling in your head. This is a very intense torture method. And what they found out is that people that have an exercise on meditation, if they are put into, I don't know how they found this out. How can you find this out? But what experiments are you doing, people? But what happened was that they found out that people that know how to meditate, if they meditate into the drop, they don't feel the pain. And that's when they took this to a whole new level, where they made the drops be a rhythmic. They don't follow a rhythm, so you don't know when the next drop will come. So then those people can't turn off this torture, because if the drops are coming in a rhythm, like Michael say, anything that is rhythm has a rhythm you can meditate upon. And that's why breathing as well is so good, because it has a rhythm. So if you put that rhythm there, it is good. Rhythm, patterns, frequencies, those things are more important than we are aware of. Be mindful of that. Meditate about them, reflect about them in your life. What is your pattern? Like Michael mentioned in the beginning when we were in the coaching session, like I see a pattern and I was like, I love it. tell me what is the pattern, because patterns are very good.
Right. Because as we see, it's the idea, and that's why I wanted to tie those three things together, is there is a statement out there that is how you do one thing is how you do everything. And us working towards finding out what that core belief is that's propping all of that up, that as we actually shift that, redesign that, reprogram it, that it's going to have a ripple effect on all of the areas of your life.
And by three things, you mentioned the three manifestations that I showed to you on how I was, what was exactly. Not being defensive was another thing, was not willing to be the teacher. Yeah, got you. Mhm. Cool. Awesome.
So let's actually do this exercise. So Bruno,
Let's do it.
thank you
Yes.
very much for giving so much today about your frustrations and where you've come from. So there's this exercise that I want to go through with you in order
Mhm.
to put you in a different state of mind.
Okay.
So what I'd like you to do is close your eyes and imagine
Yes.
yourself 3 years from now. We've gone through our coaching. You've actually started creating the best version of your life. I know you've got a big picture of where you want to be, but I actually want you to sit in that space to feel what it's like to be there. You are doing the things that you want to be doing. You are getting into the perspective of you sitting in yourself in that moment. And I want you to imagine yourself as 3 years from now, and we're having a conversation on the phone. Starting off with, hello, Michael, it's been 3 years since we talked last, and my life is so great because.
We talking, we are keeping in touch, Michael. We keep in touch. I don't want to let you go. Yeah, we were just talking about my.
So I want you to relay to me as if you are in that space. This isn't, we're not relating to where you are now, but where you are 3 years from now. And really
Yeah.
relay to me what your day is like, what you're doing, what you're up to, what you're experiencing, who you're surrounding yourself with, those major milestones that we are going to be working on here, that they're already done. Who are you? What are you doing? Who are you being?
I'm in some old city in Europe, and I might be there for a meeting with someone that is developing some of my projects, like some company, possible partnership. Am I supposed to tell you the entire day? What do you want to know about my day today, Michael?
I want to know
Like, I'm a
everything
very
that you're
busy
feeling
person.
and doing in your day, and I want as specific as
Uh,
possible.
I feel amazing. It's great. Like, projects are flying all over the place. And there is a lot of things going. There is a lot of structure already built in Brazil for the community. I have, at this point, if I am in Europe today, negotiating business deals with possible partner companies. I have a gym here where people train martial arts and other physical activities. There is a lot of projects around this gym. There are some people that pay to train there, but there is a lot of community people that train there for free. There might be some donations there going on, but mainly I sustain the business. It's not so much. I probably have a place here in Brazil where my family resides together, complex of sorts. This definitely has a permaculture aspect to it, and there might be other people from the community living there, like farmers, cooks, and we have some business going out there. We might have some delivery business. There is a lot of things going on in Brazil. But in Europe right now, where I am, I'm probably handling some big project like the on-chain game that I wish to create, the pay-to-play game, or even taking cyber to a next level. But life here is amazing. I wake up when I wish to. I don't sleep too much. It's 7 to 8 hours. But what I mean is that I don't bother with, oh, I have to go to sleep this time. I go to sleep when it's time to go to sleep, and I wake up when it's time to wake up. I'm out there, I'm talking to people, I get to know a lot of people. I get to know everyday people as well. I love to know everyday people. I am a surprise box. People that get to know me might have their lives changed completely because they might have a dream that they might share with me, and I might be in position to make their dream come true. And if I can, I will do so, because it will probably be profitable for me as well. Like, even I don't even need to be doing things personally. There are people around me that I can connect those people with, and that they can have their dreams, their vision put into action. I see that as even as an opportunity to create content and build a brand for myself, do marketing, get my name out there, my presence out there. I really wish to become, I don't wish to become, I am becoming, yeah, because 3 years from now, I'm not yet there, but I will become a major influence in the world. My vision will influence the path that humanity takes, because there is a lot of things I believe to be necessary for humanity, and they are just not into place yet. And we need to be mindful about that, because we are unconscious. The same way people individually are unconscious, society is unconscious as well. Nature, nations are unconscious, and cultural manifestations are unconscious. We need to take care of a lot of things that happen. And I wish to be a voice that guides humanity long after my death into achieving this level of consciousness. Am I going too deep? Is there any area that you wish for me to focus, Michael?
Who specifically are you spending time with?
Oh, I spent time. That's an interesting question, Michael. I love this question. Thank you. I look so much like those fake hosts now, but that is actually a very interesting question. Because when I am in any place, like when I'm a party, when I'm at the bar, when I go to anywhere where there is social gathering, people usually ask, "Who are you with?" And I say, "I'm with everybody." And I tend to get to know the most interesting people to me anywhere I go. And if I spend too much time into a place, it's a small place, there is a big chance I'm going to meet everybody there, like 70, 80%. There will be people that I will not meet, of course, but I'll meet a lot of people. So who are the people that I'm with? I'm with the culture, I'm with the tribe of the place that I am. I will go into, if I am in Paris, I will take a look, what are the places in Paris that people gather, and I'll be there and I'll meet the people there. And then I will be connecting with the people that want to make things happen. Those are the people that I'm looking for. I'm with everybody, but I will be associating with the people that want to make things happen. And of course, I will prioritize the people that want to make things that I also want to make happen. Of course, I'll be looking for investors, I'll be looking for business owners, I'll be looking for people that have knowledge that I search for, like blockchain, programming, marketing, video production, video directing, design, production value, people that know how to make events. Those are the people that I'll be connected with, because if I am connected with those kind of people everywhere I go in the world, and I maintain a relationship with those people, I can get anywhere in the world and make things happen. Yeah, things will be easy. Does that answer your question?
Partly. Tell me about your partner.
My partner, my sexual partner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your intimate
Will I
partner,
have
the person you
one?
spend the most time with. Tell me about that person.
Yeah. Is that going to be a single person? I don't know. We might have more than one person occupying this place, Michael. But it's going to be an interesting person. It's going to be someone that has some level of mindfulness and physical care as well, a conscious person. It's not going to be someone explosive, or if it was someone that was in a pattern of being explosive, this pattern will be diffused around me. And it's someone that is enthusiastic about the things that she's doing and the things that I'm doing. We might have some projects together, because if I get to have a single partner, we have a lot of projects together. Our relationship is much beyond the sexual transaction, the sexual gratification that we have, the sexual exchange that we have with each other. We're going to have a lot of things that we build together beyond that. Even if I have more than one partner, we will have much more than this exchange working on, being grown to us. And it's someone that gives me comfort, receives me very well, accepts me the way I am, encourages the qualities that I have, Like my partner that I have today, I have an open relationship. She's pretty much like that. And but she's too young. She doesn't have her own projects still. She doesn't know what she's going to build. I'm helping her to trying to figure out that. And
Future,
if this is the same thing
future,
three
not
years from
now.
now, yeah, thank you. And if I got that, I was already fixing. In 3 years from now, and now she probably has figured out 3 years. She probably has things figured out. So I'm helping her to put her projects forward. I hope we are still together then because I really like my relationship.
So
I don't like
pause.
to say so because I
Keep
don't know.
falling back into probably as if this is not your reality. You keep losing the
Yeah,
thread of being in that space. You're
there might be
sabotaging it
some
before you get there.
there might be some insecurities there about relationship, Michael.
About all of this, I
Yeah.
think there's some insecurities, but that's
Uh,
okay. That's why we're
but
doing
I
it.
was not going back when before talking about relationship. I was not going back. I was in the future. But yeah, you're right. There is insecurities about all that. Otherwise, I would be there.
So is there
But
anything else that we missed about would be your ideal life 3 years from now?
anything else about how would be my ideal life three
What do you
years
love
from now?
about your life in this moment right now?
That I'm free, that everything that I wish to do, I can do, that I can impact positively other people's lives. Most of all, that I have a clear, tangible value to anyone that has contact with me. Because in the past, I used to have a lot of problems thinking that I didn't have value, thinking that I wasn't enough, and that I need to make up things for people to like me, to enjoy my presence, and things like that.
You're going down the
And
rabbit hole again.
everybody knows that it's clear, it's obvious. When I get into a place, everybody knows that I have value. And that is very important for me. This is something that I value greatly.
So I'm going to pause you here.
Mhm.
I'm going to read back what I took down for notes.
Okay.
So I want you to listen.
Okay.
Ready? I'm in Paris for a meeting with someone who is helping me develop one of my projects. I'm negotiating deals with partner companies and I feel amazing. Projects are flying all over the place. I do have lots of structure built in Brazil for my community. I've got a gym there where people are training, and some are training there for free based on donations, but it's a great place for people to learn to train in jujitsu, MMA, and other physical methodologies. There's also a complex in Brazil where they practice permaculture. There's farmers, cooks, and businesses, and we're delivering our product to the community. I'm also taking cyber to the next level. I wake up when I wish to, getting a full night's sleep, but I wake up when it feels best. I'm talking to lots of people and getting to know them. I am a surprise box. People that get to know me have their lives changed completely. Their dreams that they share with me, I am in the position to help them make them true. The people around me, I connect them with people that I have around me and help put their dreams into action. I am creating a brand with my name and presence. I am a major player in the world. My vision is taking place. Society and nations are becoming more conscious because of the work I am doing. I am the voice for humanity to achieve this vision regularly. I know so many interesting people, and I'm in amazing places everywhere I go and connect and make things happen. So many people, from investors, designers, producers, and event managers. My network of people makes things easy for me to create my life. My partner is so interesting. They have so much mindfulness and consciousness. They have overcome their explosive patterns. She is enthusiastic about her projects and mine as well. It goes so far beyond the sexual part of it. She gives me comfort, receives and accepts, encourages me every time. I am free. I impact people positively. I have a tangible value for everyone I meet.
I see what you did there. You changed the things that I spoke in a way that it's more positive, more assertive, more a reality. Yeah, I got it.
So when we talk about a vision, it's a matter of coming from that place where this is my reality. It gets you in that vibrational tone of, this is where I am. I'm just waiting for it to get here. But I'm already here. I already feel it. I've already expressed it. I've already told the universe how I want this to play out. It is using your words and tweaking it a little bit, because the idea of possibility or maybe or all that kind of stuff, it diminishes the value of the request. You don't call up and say, can you maybe possibly make me a hamburger with maybe cheese and maybe possibly, if you happen to have any on hand, tomato and lettuce and onion. No, you say, this is what I want.
And then when the burgers get there, it's, no, I didn't want it exactly that.
Right. It's a different way of approaching things. And that's how we can reshape your vision to be your present. And each time you do that, it gets you closer to it being your reality. Even if it may be a big leap to get there, but when you know exactly where you're going, it's like saying, maybe I'll go. Even when you started off, you said, I'm somewhere in Europe. I may be working on a project. It was very vague, but it's like saying, I might go to South America, maybe Europe or Asia. I don't know, but I'm going to go somewhere. How do I buy a ticket to go to somewhere? It's nowhere on the map. I don't even know what it's going to cost to get there, to know what I need to save in order to start on that trip. If I know exactly where I want to go, if I've defined in a significant way what that looks like, I can then start plotting my course and figure out the vehicles I need, the resources I want to get in place, the people I need to talk to, what paperwork do I need to really start on that journey. Because as soon as you actually define what that is, your journey has already begun, even before you step out your front door.
I like it, Michael. Thank you for all that insight. It's very useful.
Excellent. So that's what that exercise is.
Small changes.
It is.
Yeah, but it's small changes that are very useful, very impactful. I like it a lot.
So what do you...
I'll bring this to my visualization practice. I'll start to notice when I'm putting the maybes, the vagueness, the not so certain ideas. And I will notice as well when I'm coming back to the past and remembering my story. I just had an insight. It's all about patterns, as we spoke before. It's all about patterns. So if you wish to change your reality, you need to change your frequency. You need to change your patterns. So frequency relates to patterns. And we talked as well, that is pieces of several podcasts falling together now. When we talk about law of attraction, the law of resonance, which means what you attract, what you resonate with, what you identify with. So when you are visualizing, when I was visualizing about my partner, for example, and I started to talk about my partner in the present, that was me setting the future to be in the same frequency as the present and the past. So that's what I get from this exercise. Okay, so I can't be looking at the past, because if I wish to resignify and identify with a new frequency, every time I go back into the past, I identify my future with that frequency that I wish to forget. We need to forget the patterns of the past and the frequencies that we don't want to repeat in our life. This is a great lesson, great knowledge. I'm very thankful, very grateful for you in this moment, Michael. Thank you.
So it's one of the things that I know that they talk about a little bit in Landmark. There's several different, practices around this, is the idea of who you were yesterday, who you were 10 years ago, who you were 30 years ago. We apply meaning to that. And unfortunately, then we throw that meaning out into the future because that's our experience up to this point. And it's not a matter of us having to forget it. It's a matter of, it's like going into the refrigerator and actually having a whole bunch of rotten food and thinking that's the only thing you have to make your dinner from.
And you wish to eat healthy.
And you want to eat healthy. Yeah, exactly. You want to eat something that's going to nourish you. But if your refrigerator currently is full of rotten food because that's what you've stocked it with, and that you're leaving it there to go bad, is that going to serve you going to the future? Or do you clean out the refrigerator and start stocking with the things that are going to serve you, that are going to nourish you, that are going to be healthier for you, and start doing with that. I'm going to make this in the future. I've never tried kumquat, but hey, let's give it a shot. Let's try something new and actually find a way to make that nourishing in what I'm eating.
I don't know if that's the moment to share that, but when you speak about full freezer, that is an image that really incites a lot of emotions in me. It's the image of having a full fridge, opening the fridge and having it filled with like lots of things. That's cool. That's a nice image.
The idea is that you have this as your vision statement for your life, and you bring the enthusiasm as if you are announcing a football game. This is my life.
I got, when you were reading, that could be a very nice product for you to share, a product of the coaching session for you to share with the coachee, with the person, and that you could actually do that like periodically, like every month, the beginning of the package, in the end, like have milestones, do it 2-3 times during the coaching package. I don't know if you already thought about that.
Already do it.
Do it. Cool.
There I go again. So it is something in my coaching practice that I do bring up as we move forward. And as we're looking at what are we working on today, it's like, where does that fit into this bigger vision? Where does this apply? And are we still heading to the same destination? Because it is good to have that guiding light. And that is actually one of the major products of the life book process, is refining that on a much bigger scale so that you do have eventually a vision that you get excited about, that if somebody's actually doing a summary of your life 5 years from now, that they're actually like excited to share it so that you live into that.
Interesting. And obvious, I didn't realize that, but yeah, you sure must get out with some vision statement like that when you finish the life book process.
That is the final product, really, is the life vision that you were excited to create in your life, that you're excited to live into, is what Life Book Premium, that's the tangible, it's the what. As you move into what's next, which is Mastery Bootcamp Accountability, is then the how. It is a two-stage process. Because if you, like I said early along, if you're all focused on the how do we get to the moon, we had no idea how we were going to get there.
Yeah.
We determined the what, and then we figured out the how on the way.
Yeah. And important to understand as well, to mention, before that, you need to know the why. Before you do all this work, you need to have a motivation, a reason to act upon it. Otherwise, you will not take action.
So I certainly would agree with you that once you've figured out what you want, is knowing why you want it. Absolutely. But it's still a matter of the what. Like Simon Sinek's book, the Start With Why, is really important. Why does your business exist? What do you want to go there? And coming up with your personal why are you here is really what he's talking about. Why do you bring what you bring to the table? When we're talking about creating the next best version of your life, it is a cyclic process a little bit, is looking at your beliefs on that particular subject. What is it that you want to create? And then why do you want to create it? And then going back and, okay, so now that I figured out why I want that, well, then figure out the why again of what the next thing is, and then refining that over time. Because it's not a done deal. 5 years from now, I hope that my vision is different 5 years from now than it is now, because I've now refined my processes. I've now determined why I wanted that achievement and what is the understanding, the feeling that I want underneath that. So how do I then cultivate that and mature that and evolve that over time? And I then discover a deeper why as I'm actually taking the actions and the step to create the what.
I agree with that. I think that you need to have an initial motivation, but after you have your motivation that leads you to take action, you will start to figure out what are the experiences you wish to live in life. And those experiences will come with reasons that it's good for you to exercise on mindfulness and understand why. I wanted to become a billionaire much before I realized that I want to be a billionaire because of my lack of value that I had in my childhood and in teenage years. So I want to have this compensation It might be millions, it might be billions. I want to have those resources because I want to add a lot of value into other people's lives. I want to be recognized for the value that the impact, the transformation, the value that I bring to others people's lives. I want to be loved and all that. So that's the motivation. But this why came after I realized a lot of what's and things like that. But again, you need to have a seed. This is something that grew from that seed. But much before that, you need to have a seed. And before I knew I wanted to qualify marginalized people for better opportunities, there were other seeds there. And many times in the beginning, those seeds are like, I want to have a car, I want to have a house, I want to have things like that. Those are your whys. And that's what Michael says. And we all hope that 5 years, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years from now, your vision is different because you will learn more about the world and you will learn much more about yourself. And knowing about yourself, you learn that there are more important things that you can do. Right now, I understand that I don't need to get wealthy. I already do many other things that are important to me, and I already have value to the people that are around me. I am recognized as a person of great value because of the things that I do. So I already have those satisfactions, but now I know that I can scale this to the entire world. And if I can, why not?
Absolutely. I like how you took that to that next stage and that idea of as you start chasing those whats, you figure out why you want it. And then you figure out that you don't need the what in order to get the why. And you figure out
Exactly.
that in this space, the resources will help you get there, absolutely, but you can still deliver value to every person you interact with. Most of the stuff that you actually talked about in your vision didn't say I had $1 billion. They said I was in Paris
Yeah.
for a meeting, but there was not a dollar sign anywhere. I was making impact in people's lives.
It's like I told you, the amount of money I visualize, it's just a abstract thing that I know that if I have this, I would become a global influence. I would be able to spread my vision throughout the world and make it become a reality. The money is not an object for me. I do not wish for the money. I do not crave for the money. I wish for the resources to do my projects. I wish for the projects. I wish for the things that I want to do. And I know that I will do them. To do them, I would need like investment and things like that. I can't create, for example, a blockchain game, a game inside a blockchain, make people play a game to earn money and have this entire dynamics if I don't have several millions of dollars, hundreds, I would say, because that's what it costs. It costs hundreds of millions of dollars in investment. Nice, right?
Yes. So thank you, Bruno, for being on this journey with me today and actually delving deeper into our coaching session for last week. We really dug into what your vision is for your life. And even a little bit, we went into the why you want to create it. So thank you for actually engaging in that with me. I'm looking forward to seeing as this vision for your life becomes your reality and as it unfolds and manifests before you, even when you're not taking action to get there, you're setting yourself in the tone to do it so you can take inspired, intentional action to create it.
Thank you too, Michael. It has been amazing. This podcast, the entire interactions that we have, they have been amazing. And right now to be able to have this opportunity and focus on my vision for the future, it's like a gift. I love it. And I'm very grateful for the things that we discovered today, the things that we worked upon, and now looking to journaling about it, exercising more mindfulness. Because just as we told you, it's not just a session, it's not just this moment. We need to reflect on it on the future. And these reflections will really make the difference into implementing this work that we did today in our lives. So thank you, Michael. Very grateful. And I hope to see you guys next week. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Give us that little juice that we need to get this content out there. Bye bye.
Yes, thank you. Not only subscribe, but I like it if you really got something from this session that we went through. Please leave a comment. Maybe even hit that like button if it actually really made a difference in your life. We do this because we want to help others transform their lives. I want to help people live a more intentional life and thereby help elevate themselves into the best version of that. My name is Michael Danklos of Elevate Your Best.
And I'm Bruno Martins from the Cyber Journey. Bye-bye.
Bye now. Have a fantastic rest of your week.